Have you ever wondered why some civilizations created breathtaking cathedrals that took generations to build, while others focused on what could be consumed or used up immediately? Why did people once spend decades building projects meant to last centuries, while today everything seems designed to break or be replaced within a few years? It turns out this difference might not just be about technology or leadership. It might be actually come down to money itself. What kind of money we use doesn't just determine what we can buy today. It shapes how we think about the future, how we save, and what kind of society we build for the next generation. In this video, we are exploring the powerful ideas from a chapter 5 of Bitcoin Standard, which argues that the type of money a society uses influences its very character, from how people invest and innovate to how they create art and culture. At the heart of it all is something called time preference. Time preference describes whether people prioritize immediate rewards or are willing to wait and invest in bigger, long-term goals. When money is sound, meaning it holds its value over time, people develop a low time preference. They are willing to save, plan, and invest in the future. You see this mindset in people who start businesses, save for retirement, or invest in their children's education. But when money is constantly losing value, like an inflationary system, people develop a high time preference. They prefer instant gratification because saving feels like a losing game. Why hold money that melts away? Instead, they spend it quickly or take on debt to enjoy life now. This isn't just theory, it's backed by history. The Roman Empire offers a powerful example. In its early days, Rome used sound money, coins made of nearly pure silver and gold. This era saw major infrastructure projects, strong civic institutions, and disciplined savings. But as the empire expanded and expenses skyrocketed, emperors began to debase the currency, mixing precious metals with cheaper ones. Over time, the money lost value, leading citizens to lose trust and focus on immediate survival instead of future prosperity. A society that once invested in roads, aqueducts, and monuments turned into one of corruption, decline, and short-term thinking. Fast forward to the 19th century. Under the classical gold standard, many Western economies flourished. Money was backed by gold, which couldn't be printed or easily inflated. This encouraged savings and long-term investment, fueling an era of industrialization, technological advances, and magnificent architecture. When people can trust their money to hold value, they are more willing to save. Savings are the foundation of capital accumulation. That capital doesn't just sit idle. It gets invested in tools, factories, new inventions, and big projects that make society more productive and prosperous. A society with strong savings can support large-scale research, ambitious construction, and innovation that takes decades to pay off. Compare this to an inflationary system. Here, people avoid holding cash and instead speculate or consume immediately. Businesses are pushed to focus on quick profits rather than long-term value. The book explains that when governments debase money, they remove incentive to save and replace it with incentive to consume and borrow. Over time, this reduces the overall wealth of society and erodes the foundations of real growth. One of the most fascinating parts of Chapter 5 is the connection between money and culture. When people have a low time preference, they support and create art that's designed to last for centuries. Cathedrals, sculptures, paintings, and classical music. During the Renaissance in Florence, for example, the city used the florin, a gold coin with stable value. Artists and patrons knew they could fund projects that might take decades because the money held its worth. This environment gave rise to Michelangelo, Brunelleschi, and countless timeless works. In contrast, a high time preference society produces disposable art, short-term trends, shocking displays, and entertainment designed for immediate impact rather than long-lasting value. This doesn't mean modern art has no value, but the cultural shift mirrors the underlying economic mindset. Spend now, impress quickly, replace tomorrow. High time preference doesn't just affect individuals, it affects the entire social fabric. When savings become unattractive, borrowing and debt rise. Families and governments alike become hooked on credit, living beyond their means. People are less likely to invest in community projects, public goods, or long-term research. Instead, societies shift towards consumption, political polarization, and loss of trust. On the flip side, sound money supports patience, cooperation, and peaceful trade. People think beyond their own lifetimes, planting trees whose shade they may never sit in. The big question: can we return to a world shaped by a low time preference? Bitcoin is presented as one of the possible solutions, a digital sound money, a fixed supply of 21 million coins. Unlike fiat currencies, Bitcoin cannot be inflated at will. This scarcity encourages saving and thinking long term. While opinions on Bitcoin vary, its design aims to revive the mindset that built cathedrals, funded scientific revolutions, and drove humanity to reach beyond immediate gratification. Ultimately, money is more than just medium of exchange. It's a mirror of our priorities. When money is sound, it supports saving, patience, and culture that builds for future generations. When it's weak, it pushes us towards debt, consumption, and focus on today at the expense of tomorrow. Reflecting on this has made me rethink how we approach money and what kind of future we're all helping to build. If this perspective resonates with you, I would love to hear your thoughts. Do you feel like society today encourages you to plan for the future or just live for now? Let me know in the comments. If you found this breakdown helpful, feel free to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.